It's interesting to me that you have these two totally different paths to the Super Bowl from the quarterback position. The Joe Burrow has been such a kind of flash of light, that Cincinnati was a 2-14 team when they drafted him. They were a bad team last year. He made them competitive in games, but they still lost a lot of games. He, of course, was injured late in the season. But in year number 2, they made this huge leap, won the division, won 3 playoff games, find themselves in a Super Bowl. And there's reason to believe, legitimate reason, that this is the start of the Bengals being really good for a really long time. It's hard to imagine Joe Burrow not being part of a winner. It just is. Because of what we saw in college at LSU and what we're seeing in these first 2 years, it's just very hard to imagine that he is not consistently in big games and part of a winner because of what he brings to the table. However, as Mraz makes his claim about circumstance defining his life, that had he grown up north of the border, he would be a top 10 hockey player of all time, is his bold claim this morning. Circumstance also is part of Matthew Stafford's path. And that Matthew Stafford was an elite passer coming out of Georgia. He was the number 1 pick overall. He goes to the Lions, and the Lions at times were fine. They went to the playoffs 3 times with him. He never won a playoff game, though. And that there was always kind of a limit to the potential that he could achieve and reach in Detroit. And I think in some ways, this game is the perfect encapsulation of Matthew Stafford's career. Because in Detroit, Matthew Stafford was always viewed as a guy with the physical abilities. And I think around the league, Matthew Stafford was viewed as a guy with the physical capabilities to be great. And the numbers certainly at times looked great. He threw for more than 5,000 yards. And you could envision a scenario where Matthew Stafford, with a better coach and a better team and a better organization, could win big. But because we view everything through the prism of winning in American sports, we view through our prism Aaron Rodgers, who has won a Super Bowl, Tom Brady, who's won 1 million Super Bowls, Peyton Manning, who went to 4 Super Bowls. We view these guys as the contemporary greats. And now it's Patrick Mahomes as well. Mahomes has been to 2, won a Super Bowl, played in all these huge games, AFC Championship games, whatnot. When you're a great quarterback, but you don't win, we kind of push you off to the side. And this week, Stafford's taken a back seat to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the new. He is the now. He looks like the future. He's got the chain and the swag and the composure. And Joe Burrow, again, it's an amazing thing to say, but it just is hard to imagine him not winning for the rest of his career. Matthew Stafford has been there. Bad team, good player, didn't win. And I think in some ways we're overlooking Matthew Stafford this week. I think in many ways, because Burrow is so compelling, that Stafford takes a back seat, and this has been very much his career. Good player, good talent, but not all that exciting because he didn't win. And you're going to have to rewrite that narrative on Sunday if he does. You just have to. You know, it also doesn't really matter how you do it if you're Matthew Stafford, as long as you get this win. You can throw for 164 yards. Sony Michel can be the MVP. Aaron Donald can be the MVP. Von Miller can be the MVP. It really doesn't matter how you do it. You just have to do it. You just have to win this game. And honestly, you can win this game 16-13. You just have to win this game because nobody looks back on a ground-based Miami Dolphins squad and say, Bob Greasy wasn't really a Hall of Famer. He's got 2 rings. Nobody goes back to the Packers sweep and say, Bart Starr didn't really deserve those championships. He was part of 2 Super Bowls and 5 NFL championships. Nobody ever really looks at Troy Aikman's numbers and goes, the numbers aren't really that great. Well, that's a great offensive line, and Emmitt Smith was an all-timer. No, he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. That's kind of all that we know and we care about. It really doesn't matter how you do it. I mean, look at Tom Brady's last Super Bowl with the Patriots. It wasn't very good. They beat the Rams. He makes one great throw to Gronk, clutch, crunch time, and it's a ring, and nobody ever says, the final Brady ring. No, it doesn't really matter. You just have to win. But I do think that Matthew Stafford, because of Burrow's pizzazz, has become somewhat of an afterthought in this week's game.